So,
I'm gonna get you a little bit closer
why?
because I'm a nice dad.
No, you're not.
I'm not? That's not very nice to say. Why am I not a nice dad?
You're good.
I'm a good dad.
No.
No?
Park right here.
All right, fine. Get out, you hooligan. Out, out, out. He's telling you to get out. Bye, girls. Love you.
Yep.
Yep. Have a good day. Be good.
Yep. Bye-bye, Dad.
Bye, kid. Mwah.
I'm just going to
Okay. Howdy, folks. Ed here. Welcome back to Bullnose Garage. Today we're trying something different. This is, I'm going to call it Bullnose Garage on the road. So, you guys have to let me know if you like this format or not. It's something new. Basically, it's just going to be me off the top of my head driving on the way to work. So, you know, during the summertime, I'm sure you guys have noticed if you pay any attention to my channel that I just don't drop videos during the summer. And I've said it before, I made this like a broken record, but I just don't have any time. With the kids and family obligations and work and everything else that I got going on during the summer, there's just no time to produce and film videos and stuff. And so I don't have a lot of time, like even in the evenings, but what I do have is a 20-minute commute to work. So what I think I'm going to try is this little thing here where you and I just sort of sit in my truck on my way to work and just talk. I mean, you know, it's not really a conversation because you're not talking back to me. I mean, you could be. I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of like a podcast type thing, except it's mostly just, you know, a YouTube version of that. Anyway, you guys let me know if you like this, because if you do, if you find it entertaining, then I'll keep doing it. And if you don't, then I won't. I mean, I got no problem not doing something if you guys aren't interested in it. So, yeah, just let me know what you think. And, you know, it's just going to be talking about things like, you know, Bullnose related stuff, garage related stuff, automotive related stuff, that kind of, you know, and it's just sort of like off the top of my head what I find interesting or what I've worked on lately, right? Because I'm still working on stuff, even though I'm not doing a lot of videos during the summer. I don't have a lot of time, but, you know, at night after the kids go to bed, I can tinker in the garage a little bit or work on some things. I try not to work on the trucks too much without you guys there. The Bronco, I've done quite a bit of work on the Bronco and got it running. I have an interesting story about that too, which I'll get to at some point. But, and the F-150 I'm not going to work on without doing videos on. But I also work on all the other stuff, kind of garage related. So, like, for instance, I'm trying to teach myself how to weld, right? I've always found welding fascinating. I mean, how cool is it to, like, stick two pieces of metal together with fire, you know? That's pretty neat. And, but I've never really gotten into it, never had the chance. And, you know, but it's super useful. The number of times in my life that I've thought, man, I'd really like to get these two pieces of metal together is way too damn high. So I figured, you know what, I'll learn how to weld. And now there's a local place that I can go to that has classes, but I don't have time for that, you know. And YouTube is a thing, and, you know, welders are fairly affordable for the most part anymore. So I thought, you know what, I'll just go out and get myself a welder and give that a try and see if I can kind of teach myself how to weld. Now, I know I'm going to miss some things, and teaching myself is going to handicap myself a little bit from the beginning, because there's things that a pro or even a teacher would know that they could tell me, like, right up front that, you know, I'm not gonna get just by doing it myself. So I may teach myself bad habits and all that kind of stuff. And I understand that, but, you know, it's just kind of something that I kind of want to teach myself and get into anyway. Ultimately, the goal is going to be, hopefully I want to get good enough, and I may not, I may never get to this point, I understand that, but I'd like to get good enough to where I could weld body panels, because the Bronco has a little bit of rust right now for, like, say, the Northeast or, you know, near the coast. It's not hardly any rust at all, but for down here, it's actually quite a bit. There's a couple places where there's actually holes in the body panels that are completely rusted through. And so I'd like to, you know, learn how to cut out a piece and weld in a replacement and grind it flat and make it look nice so that you could paint it and not even know it was done. I don't know that I'll ever get that good, but that's a goal. But I do feel like I can get at least as good as being able to potentially weld a mount for a seat, right? Because I've got a back seat from, I think it's a 2005 F250. It's a rear seat that's got the nice like fold down cup holders in the middle and all that stuff. And I want to put that in the F150. But of course those seats are not gonna fit. I mean, they'll fit dimensionally, right? But they won't, the mount points aren't the same. So I'm gonna have to fabricate something. And I want to get good enough to the point where I could at least fabricate that and feel confident in the welds that I do, so that I'm not going to go, flying out of the vehicle at 70 miles an hour with the seat attached to me, right? Because it's no longer attached to the truck. So hopefully I can get to that point. I'm not there yet, but because, welding is an art, right? Respect to you guys that do it, because, man, it looks easy. Like, these guys on YouTube make welding look super easy. They just, get out the gun, set the machine, strike an arc, and do some stuff, and then it makes a stack of dimes, right? But it's nowhere near that easy to do. Now, look, it's fairly easy to use a welder to get a couple pieces of metal to stick together, right? And stick together strong enough that if you bang it with a hammer, it's not going to come apart. That, it's not that hard. But making them look good and be truly structurally sound so that they can work in an application, that's a different story. So, but I hope to get there. And it's because there's, you can set yourself up for failure right from the beginning. If you don't get your spool speed correct, or your wire feed speed, or your power levels, use the right diameter of wire. You got to know how thick the metal is that you're working on, what kind of metal it is. You got to make sure the metal's clean. You got to have the right equipment. So I went out and got myself a ArcCaptain MP205. And this is not an advertisement for them, right? They have advertisements all over YouTube for this thing. I'm not advertising for them. I thought about reaching out to them to see if they would give me one for free, but you know what? I'm just going to pay for my own stuff every now and then anyway. And that way I can talk to you guys about it without having to worry about some corporate sponsor thing. But so far, so good. It seems to work pretty well. It's a little expensive, but it does all the stuff, right? It does MIG and TIG. It does pulse MIG, pulse TIG. It's even got a plasma cutter on it, which is cool. I've never plasma cut anything before in my entire life. That's actually a lot harder than you'd think it would be, too. I tried plasma cutting, and I'm like wiggling all over the place. The plasma cutter is like a lightsaber, right? It's got no resistance whatsoever. It's just a plasma arc slicing through metal like a hot knife through butter. It's awesome, but it's actually pretty hard to be straight. And then, of course, it makes mess if you don't have the settings right. And so I've actually found that using a cutoff wheel is better than the plasma cutter for me anyway, because it's just like quicker to get set up and just and you cut it, and then it's straighter. It leaves cleaner lines. So, the plasma cutter is undeniably cool, but it is, I'm not great at it, so I'm wandering all over the place. And anyway, so it's got all that stuff, and I'm teaching myself with flux MIG for now, because, oh my gosh, I guess going out and buying a bottle of the gas at 75.25 is like a whole thing. And they're expensive, man. Like, you can get a bottle of gas for MIG on Amazon for $300, and it's the bottle and it's full. But the problem is that I don't even know if a place around here will fill it or not. What's that about? It's a legal bottle. It holds gas. It's got all the stamps and the markings and stuff on it. It's been tested and everything. It should be fine, but I guess some places won't do it unless you buy their bottle because they want to make the money, right? So, but I don't know. To be fair, I haven't checked with any place around here whether or not that's a thing that they will do, refill a bottle from Amazon or not. Because, let's be honest, I got an 8 to 5, and all these places are open from 8 to 5, so I can't just pop out of work and go down to the welding shop and, ask them about a bottle. So I may have to take a day off one of these days and do some errands and make that one of my errands that I do. Anyway, so I'm teaching myself with flux, and it's not bad. A lot of spatter, but I'm feel like I'm doing pretty good. I'm building a welding table, which of course is the first thing you build when you're learning to teach yourself how to weld. And I got some old angle iron from my father-in-law, and just some places like Facebook Marketplace. I found a couple of guys that are selling some old angle, and I've got the top is going to be an old industrial shelf. It's 4x2 that I just had laying around, right? So I just got some stuff laying around and just toss it together, and the angle is actually pretty nice. It's so if you guys are from the Southwest or even some of the drier places, you know that a lot of the less advantaged people that don't have a lot of money will choose to use what's called a swamp cooler instead of an air conditioning unit, which, I mean, sucks. Swamp coolers suck, but they're better than nothing, especially when it's 100 degrees outside. So, and all it basically is you run some water over an element, and then a big fan blows the humidity into your house, and it helps keep the air a little bit cooler, right? And they put these on top of roofs, and you got a sloped roof, and you put this big unit up on top of your roof, and looks like somebody got caught. Anyway, so you put this unit on top of your roof, and to get it up there, you've got to have a scaffold of some kind of a mount. And so a lot of guys make those mounts out of angle. They just weld some angle together and, plop it on top of a roof. And now it can hold the swamp cooler. So a lot of those are just kind of hanging out in salvage yards and stuff around here. So my father-in-law had a couple of those laying around, and so I bagged those from him and, cut the pieces off, flap disc them up, get them nice and clean, weld them together, and I got myself the beginnings of a welding table. But like I said, I'm using a cutoff wheel. Actually, I have I bought a big cutoff wheel for my chop saw. I know you're not supposed to use a chop saw for cutting metal like that. It's not really designed for that. But it works. It makes nice straight cuts, which is important when you're building a table because you don't want it to be wobbly, right? So, I got the table, and I got some casters on it, and I'm working to put it together. But man, welding is an art. It's. I feel like I'm not doing too bad. I'm definitely not stacking dimes, but I'm trying to learn how to see the puddle and how to manipulate the puddle and what pattern I like the best, how I feel about it. But man, there's a lot of muscle memory involved. You got to know what angle to be at, and you got to know your stick out and how far away you are. I find myself wandering away as I'm going down the line, and that's a problem. And you got to just keep the angle right. There's a lot of stuff that you don't think about. And you shouldn't have to think about it if you're a good welder. You just do it, and it just comes naturally to you. And I'm just waiting to get to that point. But like I said, I may never get to the point where I can do body work. I may end up trying TIG one of these days to see if that'll be better for body work. But again, I want to get at least decent with the fundamentals with MIG before I do that stuff. So anyway, it's fun though. I enjoy it. I look forward to doing it. But man, it's a process. Okay, so I got this MP205, and it's like an $800 machine, right? Which is, I had to save up to get this. And, but then you can't just buy the machine, right? You've got to have all the stuff. You've got to have the helmet, right? Because God forbid you don't have an auto darkening helmet. You may as well just throw in the towel. And so you got to get one of those, and they're not super expensive, but this stuff adds up, right? You got to have your gloves, and you got to have a welding jacket or a shirt or something to keep yourself from getting burned. You gotta, have the wire and the consumables. You got a cart, right? A table. I'm building my own, but you still gotta get the materials for that because not all the materials that I got are from the junk pile, right? You gotta have some stuff that's stitches things together. So, it gets expensive, but still, I'm having a good time. And I got a whole wish list full of things on Amazon for trying to make my life better when it comes to welding. And who knows, it may be the flavor of the month for me, man. One of the things that I have an issue with in my life is that I get excited about something and I'm like whole hog on it for just a few weeks or a couple of months or maybe even a year, depending on what it is. And then I just lose interest and I'm off to something else, right? And so we're going to see if welding is that thing for me. Luckily, the YouTube thing and the F-150 thing and all that stuff has stayed pretty well, cemented. But I'm keeping myself from playing video games and stuff at night because if I do that, I'll get sucked in, and then I won't make videos or do anything else when I have spare time, which I don't. So teaching myself, and I'll show you guys the welding table once it's done. It's just pretty close. I'm pretty happy with it. I got some pretty cool things going on with that. Things like I'm gonna do a vise mount that rotates, and some other kind of cool stuff. I got to throw my own panache in there and make it neat. But yeah, so that'll be cool. But like I said, hopefully one day I'll be able to do the Bronco thing and weld some body panels together. And, you know, I can also, now I'm looking around and every piece of metal that I see is like, ooh, opportunity, right? Like, ooh, I can build something out of that. That's pretty cool. I'm going to build an engine stand, I think, an engine run stand. Build my own. That'll be fun with all the, you know, the gauges and the fuel tank and radiator mount and all that stuff, you know, because those are expensive too. So if I can build my own, that's a win, you know. But that's one of those practical applications where you've got to make sure that you've got good solid welds because, you know, God forbid the engine flops off there while it's running. So yeah. But man, it's a learning experience, and I'm kind of a scatterbrain. You know, like I constantly am setting tools down and then just forgetting where I put them because I'm done with it. Like, yep, set it down, go off to something else, and then I spend half of my time looking for tools. That's not even a joke. Like, I think I spend like half of my time looking for tools. It's so frustrating, and I know that I do that, and I still do it. But yeah, so I'm kind of a scatterbrain, especially when it comes to something that I don't know very well or something that I'm new at. So I was cutting some of these angle irons for this welding table, and I dropped a piece of angle iron, and unfortunately I dropped it right on top of a brand new set of Basset racing wheels. Is it Basset? I think it's Basset. I always say Basset or Barrett. I get it mixed up, but I think it's Basset. Basset racing wheels that I got for the Bronco. So again, kind of dumb story here. I went out and I found a set of really nice painted red. I'll repaint them. I would have repainted them. Wagon wheels for the Bronco because I like that classic wagon wheel look, right? So I was looking for a set of wagon wheels, and some guy had them for sale on Facebook. So I'm like, oh, that's perfect. And he advertised them as 5 on 5.5. So I went and grabbed them, brought them home, and tried to put my hub on them and my little cap. And the holes didn't line up, and I measured, and it's 5 on 4.5. Oh, this guy. So, and then that's on me for not checking it, right? So I didn't check it, and now I got these wheels I got to sell. And so in the midst of trying to sell these wheels, I found some guy on Facebook selling these Basset racing wheels, and I really like the look of those. And I mean, you got to have a different lug nut for those because they're racing wheels, but it's okay. I'll figure that out. And so I went out and got those and had them in my garage and dropped a piece of angle, and it came down and it hit the back of one of the wheels right where the bead seat is and left a divot. And I do believe that the divot is going to be big enough that it would probably cause a tire not to seat and hold air. But they are steel wheels, and I'm learning how to weld, so I might be able to actually weld a fix. I might try pulse for that because I think pulse is going to be better at controlling the heat and not blowing through. But I've never done pulse before, so we're going to have to test that on a piece of scrap angle first. But, you know, it's kind of cool. It's interesting that the learning how to weld caused me to drop something onto a wheel that I can now fix by welding now that I kind of sort of know how to do it. We're going to see, right? Oh, and by the way, these Basset racing wheels, didn't know this, not street legal. The ones that I got aren't street legal. They're not even marked. So that's another thing that we're going to have to contend with, but I will probably talk about that in another episode because I am pulling into my parking lot as we speak. So guys, like I said, let me know if you like this format. It's just me sitting in a truck talking, but it's what I have time to do. Because it's just me talking, there's not a whole lot of cuts or anything else going on. It's really easy for me to edit these and get them out to you pretty quick. So if you like this, I will keep doing this. I've got all kinds of topics that I could just ramble off the top of my head. I like to talk. I like to hear myself talk. So anyway, as always, thanks again so much for watching, guys. We will see you next time.
She's rough around the edges, but she's doing fine. Tinkering away, getting things to shine. At Bullnose garage, she's considered divine. Thanks again for